Witchers make use of a very simple form of magic that doesn't require much to be able to pull off. Throughout the books and games, Geralt often uses these signs in and outside of combat. But what if he was able to do more than just use simple signs? What if Geralt of Rivia was as capable in magic as a sorcerer? That's why, in today's video, we'll discuss if Geralt could have become a sorcerer and embraced more of the magic in the world. A large part of this idea comes from a discussion between Geralt and Vilgefortz, which they had in the books on the Isle of Thanet. Why didn't you become a sorcerer, Geralt? Weren't you ever attracted by the arts? Be honest. I will. I was. Why then didn't you follow the voice of that attraction? I decided that it would be wiser to follow the voice of good sense. During this conversation, Vilgefortz keeps trying to convince Geralt that he could still become a sorcerer and take a different path in life. But is this actually possible? Could Geralt actually take up magic and change his profession? Yes, he most likely would have been able to. Vilgefortz was also very convinced of this, largely due to the fact that he saw himself in Geralt. And just like Geralt, one of his parents was a magic user. So, speaking of the children of magic users, could they have the ability to master magic as well? Tessaya de Vries certainly believed so, as she writes in the in-universe books, The Poisoned Source, in which she advocates for sterilization among mages. No one is born a wizard, and no one should be born one. In this book, Tessaya talks about the possibility of magical gifts and talents to be handed over from parents to their children. She doesn't know how magic gets passed on precisely in the context of genetics and wants to have more time spent on research. Proof of magic being handed over via procreation can be found all over the continent, in the form of seers, village oracles, miracle workers, and morons in a catatonic state. But Geralt doesn't fit this description. He's no seer or village oracle, his mind isn't scrambled by magic. But neither was Vilgefortz, who grew up as an outcast and only joined the mages after he had spent years as a mercenary. So why didn't Geralt become a sorcerer? And why did Vilgefortz want him to become one? You have to keep in mind that Vilgefortz is the big bad evil in the books. What he says should not always be trusted, for he often uses people for his own benefit. He could have said that to Geralt and tried to make Geralt loyal to him to get easier access to Ciri, to get closer to the power he desired. Later in our talks, he even confirms that he's trying to talk Geralt into joining his side, to be part of the winners, or to otherwise be destroyed. He even tries to convince Geralt by threatening Ciri's well-being. Vilgefortz saying this was most likely not motivated by him truly believing that Geralt could become just like him. However, Geralt had always been special, with him getting extra mutations after he proved to be very tolerant to the mutagens. This could also possibly have had something to do with his magical heritage. But let's assume that Geralt decided after that meeting with Vilgefortz that he wanted to become a sorcerer. I'll just ignore all the events that happen after that conversation in the books for now on, like they just don't happen. Geralt would never have joined Vilgefortz's side in this situation, instead possibly studying magic to improve his own skill, maybe even making him a better, stronger and faster Witcher. This could make the white-haired Witcher nearly impossible to defeat, a force of nature. But magic is a lot of studying, which would mean that he has to invest a lot of time in it. Of course, his life would be extended even further if he became part of the Mage Society, but still, would Geralt spend his time studying rather than taking on contracts on monsters? It could be possible, for Geralt wasn't unfamiliar to studying. Even though, as far as I'm aware, he never graduated, Geralt did occasionally follow classes at the Oxenford Academy on subjects like Goetia and monster-related studies that could come in useful in his line of work. We've only ever known Geralt as a Witcher. Therefore, it's hard to imagine him as anything else. If Geralt had to become a mage, I'd say it's most likely he wouldn't stop being a Witcher. He would enhance himself and try to keep things as much the same as possible. For Geralt wouldn't suddenly start to want to play a role in politics. He doesn't want absolute power. He doesn't fit into what we have to come expect from most mages in The Witcher. So, what do you think? Could Geralt have become a sorcerer? And if so, what would he have done with these new powers? Till next video. Bye.